Okay, once again, we're talking about a series of parody spy movies with Johnny English, starring everyone's favorite man, mostly known for his mostly silent performance as Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson. The first film in the Johnny English series came out in 2003, and I know that I've watched this film at least once, but I don't really remember it, and I couldn't really find a place to stream it, so I'm just going to go by memory and whatever I can find with plot summaries online. This is one of the films where an office worker at a spy agency dreams of being out in the field and then gets his wish. It's very similar to the Steve Carell Get Smart movie, actually. Anyway, Johnny English gets promoted because all the agents are killed, so he has to finish Agent 1's last mission. This leads to an event where the crown jewels are stolen. Now, I could go into detail about the plot line of this movie and find some cool images that I Googled from the movie, but honestly, I don't really remember this film at all. I'm beginning to think that back when I was working in a hotel, this movie might have been on in the background, and I don't think I've ever just sat down and watched a Johnny English movie. Too bad, because I've seen Rowan Atkinson in other things besides Mr. Bean. He could be really funny sometimes. I guess it makes sense they asked him to come back to the role 8 years later in Johnny English Reborn in 2011. This one, it starts out with Johnny English in a monastery because of his shame for not protecting the newly elected president of Mozambique. And he's called back into service because, yeah, this is a really old setup and plot for pretty much any action spy movie. And then it has this whole setup of a secret weapon which requires a certain amount of keys, and you gotta find all the keys to activate the weapon. Well, it would appear that these Johnny English movies make money as they keep making them. So in 2018, only 7 years later this time, we get Johnny English Strikes Again. Now this one has Johnny called into action as apparently every other agent has been exposed due to a cyber attack. It's a very similar setup to the first film, don't you think? But if you make enough films, you start repeating things. This certainly happened in the James Bond series, but I'll get to that at the end of the month. Now, I've actually heard there's like a fourth Johnny English movie in the works, and it's maybe even in pre-production at this time of recording. I hope I'm not coming across as being cruel to these Johnny English films, but I've seen a lot of spy parodies in the past month, some good, some bad. I didn't even bring up Spy Hard with Leslie Nielsen because I was kind of going for movie and TV series inspired by James Bond, not single offerings. However, maybe you were inspired by Johnny English. Maybe you saw it as a kid or something like that, grew up with it. What do you think? Leave a comment about Johnny English here.